Imagine waking up to a world where the streets are silent, except for the guttural moans of the undead. Your neighbor, once friendly, now shuffles toward you with lifeless eyes. Could a lab-made virus turn this nightmare into reality? The idea of a zombie apocalypse has haunted pop culture for decades, from Night of the Living Dead to The Walking Dead. But what if this isn't just fiction? What if science, with all its breakthroughs, could accidentally or intentionally unleash a virus capable of sparking a real zombie outbreak? Let's dive into the chilling possibilities, grounded in real science, and explore whether humanity could face its own undead reckoning. The science of zombies. Zombies, as we know them, are reanimated corpses driven by an insatiable hunger for human flesh or brains. While that sounds like pure Hollywood, certain real-world pathogens can mimic zombie-like behavior. Take Toxoplasma gondii, a parasite that infects roughly 30 to 50% of the global population, according to the CDC. In rodents, it alters brain function, making them fearless around predators like cats. In humans, it's linked to subtle behavioral changes, like increased risk-taking. Could a mutated strain push this further, turning people into aggressive, mindless shells? Then there's rabies, a virus that causes aggression, confusion, and hydrophobia in its victims. The New England Journal of Medicine notes that rabies, if left untreated, is nearly 100% fatal once symptoms appear. A lab-enhanced version could spread faster, maybe through the air, and amplify aggression to zombie-like levels. These examples show nature already has the tools. Science could just sharpen them. What if a lab took these pathogens and tweaked them just a little too far? Could a single mistake unleash a virus that rewires our brains? Lab-made viruses. Lab-made viruses promise scientific breakthroughs, but one accidental release could unleash chaos, turning curiosity into a global nightmare. Picture this, a scientist in a sealed laboratory, dressed head to toe in protective gear. The hum of machines fills the room as they hold a vial no larger than a thumb. Inside swirls a virus, something not found in nature, but created through human hands. One slip of a glove, one forgotten decontamination step, and that tiny droplet could change the world forever. It sounds like the opening scene of a science fiction movie, yet it is a very real possibility scientists and governments have debated for years. Gain-of-function research, the practice of enhancing a virus's abilities, whether making it spread faster, survive longer, or infect new hosts, was once seen as a bold frontier of medicine. The idea was simple. If we can predict how viruses might evolve, maybe we can prepare vaccines and treatments before the next pandemic strikes. But this noble goal comes with a terrifying catch. What if, in the process of playing out these what-if scenarios, humanity accidentally creates the very nightmare it is trying to avoid? History has shown us how fragile the line is between control and chaos. In 2011, scientists modified the H5N1 bird flu so it could pass between mammals, igniting fierce debate. Critics warned that knowledge itself could be dangerous, as the blueprints for such experiments might fall into the wrong hands, or worse, escape through negligence. In 2019, studies revealed sloppy safety measures in some high-containment labs, fueling fears that all it takes is one accident for disaster to unfold. Now, with tools like CRISPR and synthetic biology, creating or altering viruses is easier than ever. Imagine combining rabies aggression with the flu's contagiousness, or resurrecting an eradicated killer like smallpox. The potential for breakthrough medicine is staggering, but so is the possibility of catastrophe. The 2001 anthrax attacks proved how even small amounts of a pathogen can cause widespread panic. So here's the chilling question. In our race to outsmart nature, are we arming ourselves with cures or building the seeds of our own destruction? How a zombie virus could spread. Picture this. You wake up one morning expecting another ordinary day, but the world outside is already unraveling. News alerts ping your phone, strange attacks, people collapsing in public, others raving incoherently before lunging at bystanders. At first, it sounds like a cruel prank or another exaggerated internet rumor, but then sirens scream in every direction. The streets are filled with confusion. Something terrifying has broken free. Now imagine the source is not some ancient curse or Hollywood horror trope, but something much more realistic, a lab-made virus. Designed to study how pathogens affect the brain it slips past the secure walls of a biosafety level 4 facility, the kind of place where the deadliest diseases are kept under lock and key. This virus is airborne, invisible, and unstoppable once outside. With a reproduction number, R0 of 5, each infected person passes it on to 5 others. For context, early COVID-19 spread with an R0 of only 2 to 3, according to WHO reports. The difference? Catastrophic. The symptoms begin subtly: fever, confusion, dizziness. Within days, the virus hijacks the brain's control panel, the prefrontal cortex. Victims grow aggressive, violent, and unable to reason. They aren't dead, but they're no longer themselves. Driven by a primal urge, they lash out at anyone nearby, spreading the infection with terrifying efficiency. Cities would crumble first. Think of the 1918 flu pandemic, which managed to infect 1/3 of the global population when the world was far less connected. Fast forward to today, over 56% of people live in urban centers. With subways, crowded schools, and packed airports, a zombie virus could leapfrog across continents in days. Every crowded terminal and every commuter train would act like a petri dish. Quarantines would be announced, but panic spreads faster than rules. We've seen it before. In 2020, defiance, fear, and distrust often undercut efforts to contain outbreaks. Barricades, lockdowns, and travel bans would buy time, but not much. Now pause and ask yourself, can you hear the chaos? The screams echoing through skyscraper streets, the pounding on doors, the sudden silence when barricades collapse? Could our fragile, interconnected world really survive a virus that not only infects our bodies, but turns us into each other's worst nightmare? The brain under siege. A zombie virus would likely target the brain. The amygdala, which controls fear and aggression, could be overstimulated, while the prefrontal cortex shuts down, erasing rational thought. A 2017 Nature neuroscience study on rabies showed it spreads through neurons, disrupting communication. A lab-made virus could amplify this, perhaps by fusing rabies with prions, misfolded proteins behind mad cow disease. Prions are terrifyingly resilient, surviving heat and radiation, and can cause relentless neurodegeneration, per a 2019 The Lancet article. Such a virus might not kill outright, but could trap victims in a state of perpetual aggression. Unlike fictional zombies, they'd need food and water to survive, but their altered brains could drive them to attack anything moving. Sleep deprivation, another possible symptom, would push them into delirium, making them even more unpredictable. The Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine, 2020, links sleep loss to psychosis-like states. Now imagine that on a global scale. What if your own mind betrayed you, turning you into a monster? Could a virus really rewrite who you are? Could we stop it? Containment would be a nightmare. Vaccines take months to develop, and a fast-moving virus wouldn't wait. The 2020 COVID-19 pandemic showed how politics, fear, and misinformation can slow even the fastest response. Now imagine a virus that doesn't just make you sick, but transforms you into something terrifying, something that hunts the living. Panic would spread faster than the virus itself. Hospitals would be overwhelmed. Governments could collapse under the pressure. Military intervention might seem like the answer, but bullets won't stop infection. Every infected soldier becomes a new threat, spreading the plague further. Antivirals or experimental gene therapies might offer hope, but producing enough for billions? Nearly impossible. During the 2014 Ebola crisis, it took 18 months just to get vaccines into trials, according to WHO. Meanwhile, survivors might try to hide in bunkers, remote villages, or forests. But supply chains would crumble. Food, water, medicine, gone. Society would fragment, just like in The Road, or real disasters such as Hurricane Katrina, where chaos and desperation ruled. Picture yourself barricaded in a small home, supplies running low as the infected pound at the door. Sirens wail outside, neighbors vanish, and every day brings more horror. Could humanity survive a plague that never sleeps, that never stops? Or would the world we know end in screams and silence? Surviving the apocalypse. What could we do? If a zombie virus hit, survival would depend on preparation and adaptability. FEMA's disaster guidelines suggest 72 hours of supplies, but a zombie outbreak would demand months. Rural areas with lower population density would be safer than cities. A 2018 geographical review study on zombie apocalypse modeling showed that remote regions like the Rockies or rural Alaska could serve as refuges. Community would be key. Small, trusted groups could share resources and skills, as seen in survivor stories from real-world crises like the 2010 Haiti earthquake. Weapons might deter infected, but long-term survival would hinge on food, water, and shelter. Could you outsmart the infected, outlast the chaos, and rebuild from the ashes? Or would you fall to the horde? The bigger picture. Are we ready? A zombie outbreak, while extreme, forces us to confront real vulnerabilities. Climate change, antibiotic resistance, and geopolitical tensions already strain our systems. The WHO's 2023 Global Health Report warns of rising pandemic risks due to urbanization and deforestation. A lab-made virus is just one of many threats. Investing in biosecurity, like stricter lab protocols and global surveillance, could prevent such a catastrophe. Public trust in science, eroded by misinformation, must be rebuilt. The 2020 to 2021 COVID vaccine rollout showed what's possible when governments and scientists unite, but also how fast things unravel when they don't. The world hangs by a thread, one mistake from collapse. Could we pull together before it's too late? In conclusion, a lab-made zombie virus isn't lurking around the corner, but it's not impossible. Science's power to manipulate life is both a blessing and a curse. Pathogens like rabies or prions show nature's already halfway there. A lab could bridge the gap. History, anthrax, Ebola, COVID reminds us that accidents happen and humanity's response is often too slow. So let's not tempt fate. Stronger oversight, ethical research, and global cooperation could keep this nightmare in the realm of fiction. The clock is ticking. Will we heed the science, or will we write our own zombie apocalypse? The choice is ours, for now. If you love this, subscribe and join the conversation in the comments. More futuristic stories are on the way. Thank you.